All right, there we go. All right, now we have Mackenzie out with the Plano Green team. Mackenzie, go ahead and take it. You are live.
Alrighty. Hey guys, we're back. It is the afternoon session, so it's nice and toasty outside at this point. But I pulled a couple of the Plano Green team members out of the sun to hang out with me for a few minutes while we chat about your car. So first things first, go ahead and introduce yourself for everybody on the live stream. So tell us your name, how long you've been on the team, and maybe what kind of role you tend to play part of your team.
Hello, my name is Aiden Chan. I've been on the team for about 2 years, and this year I work mainly with the auxiliary system.
Hello, my name is Cable Smith. It's my first year on the team, and mainly I help with sport, and yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so it's day 3. I did check in with Plano back on day 1, so it's been a little bit of time since we've said hey to you guys. So first things first, tell us how the race has been. We've been going a couple days now. How's your car been performing? Where are you guys at as a team?
Yesterday we ran into a few, I guess, more serious problems. But these problems weren't like race-ending problems, unlike last year. So our goal for this year is essentially to increase the reliability of our car so that we can stay on the track for most of the time. And yeah, so that's our goal for this year.
So tell me, how has the race been so far for your team?
It's been really exciting for us. Even our advisor is talking about how excited he is that our car is able to race the entire time, even more time than last year's. And it's said that we even our last year's in racing. So.
That's awesome. So speaking of which, for people who didn't tune in last year, we hung out Plano Green team last year. Similar car. Obviously, a few tweets every time we see the car back together. So tell us a little bit about what has changed from last year, if you can remember, and then also kind of why you made those changes for this year.
So we made a lot of changes to our electrical system. Most notably, we spent a lot of time on our batteries and doing something called battery balancing. Last year we found out that because our batteries weren't balanced, they were discharging at uneven rates. Therefore, one battery would die before the rest of the batteries in a pack would die. And so this year that was our main focus with the electrical system. We also made a few improvements and maintenance to the auxiliary system.
Do you have any thoughts on, I know you said new, but this year, what have you heard that might be different from last year in terms of maybe strategy as a team?
Regarding our strategy as a team, our aim was to make sure we're, as Aiden said, a long time on the track and make sure we effectively manage how much we outtake or how fast we're going on the track. And also, we have basically made everything super efficient.
Awesome. You know, we've talked a lot about this here and there, but I haven't talked as much today about it, so we might as well harp on it again. For those of you that remember, this isn't a speed race, right? It's all about the distance on the track. So explain to us why it's so important for consistency and why it's so important for you guys to push to get the car out on the track as much as possible.
Yeah, so, I mean, maybe you can spend like one day discharging all of your battery at once, and, you know, yeah, you'll get like amazing lap times, right? But then the problem is that the race lasts, 4 days? And so you gotta make sure that your batteries last at least 4 days. Maybe on the last day, yeah, you can just run your car at maximum speed. But over these 3 days, we had to carefully manage our batteries so that they don't die too quickly, and most importantly, like I said before, they don't become unbalanced, so that we can remain our level of performance, we can have a steady level of performance.
Awesome. So what about you? What does consistency mean for you as a team?
Consistency for me as a team, it means we're always ready to do any auxiliary battery changes, any type of driver changes, so that we're always able to like decrease and minimize the amount of time we spend at the pit and in the garage, because as our goal is to be efficient and stay on the track.
Awesome. And you talked about driver changes. From what I remember, you guys don't have a whole lot of drivers this year, right? Will you walk me through kind of what's going on with driver changes and kind of what's happening with some of the other teams around us right now?
All right, so our team, we have a total of 4 members, and it turns out none of us are qualified to drive our car. So what we end up where we asked help from other teams, and thankfully we had some volunteers from other teams offer to drive our car. So now we often have to make sure we're scheduling our drivers and make sure that each one is okay to drive before, not under any heat pressure before they drive, because that would be bad, and that after they're done they are also cool, and if they also tell us if we have any problems.
I think for a challenge in a race, when people think competition and rivalry, you often don't think about other teams helping provide drivers to teams that are their direct competitors. So what does that mean to you, like as a community, what this type of race is like?
I mean, it really shows that the Solar Car Challenge, like, it's not a competition, you know, to see who's the best. It's more of a competition to see, like, who can do the best, but who can also help others the best. So that's what I've gotten from this competition.
Yeah, who can rise to the occasion, right? Which has been really great. And speaking of, rising to the occasion right now is we're in the afternoon of day 3. So we're almost done. We can almost taste the finish line and the air conditioning. It's just one day away. So tell me, are you guys excited for the end of the race? Are you excited for day 4 and what we're going to be able to see tomorrow?
I don't know what we're going to see tomorrow, but I am excited to see our final day of racing and what we can put out and see our final lap time, see how much it's improved, and look forward to the future with the data collected.
What about you? How do you feel about day 4 being so close?
I'm definitely excited. We definitely have put a lot of work, and these past days at the event has been quite challenging, quite stressful. The heat doesn't really help. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the air conditioning.
Yeah, me too. And speaking of challenging and looking back on the race, I've been talking to a lot of teams this week about things and advice that they would give either to other teams or new teams or students who are thinking about joining teams. So now that you guys are going through it and you're having a good race this year, what would you say you wish you had known before you started racing that you now know now that you would share with other teams?
Aiden, do you have anything?
Let me think. I mean, there's just a lot of things. I think one thing might be, I guess, get prepared for the stress. You'll see teams that like may be better than you, and that may be kind of stressful. But just know that that they are always willing to help, and so don't think of it like as like a competition, like a rival. As in like a rivalry, but think of it as like an opportunity to learn something new while competing. Yeah.
Think of any other advice you might want to share at this point?
I think the best advice I would give to people coming to race is that it is very encouraged to ask other teams for help, and that way you might be able to even have another team member actually input into your car and make it better to race in. Yeah.
That's awesome. All lean on each other to make each other better. I love that, and I love that that's kind of what we do here at Solar Car. I will get you back to your teams shortly, so I just have a few more quick questions for you guys before I send you back out into the heat. So I don't know, maybe you do want to hang out with me a little longer. But I've been talking to a lot of teams this year about goals and goal setting and kind of what they wanted walking into this. And now that we're at day 3, we're starting to kind of see where our goals have gotten us and what our final goals are. So I would love for you guys to touch on, either as a team or as a person, what goals you guys have seen for this race for yourself and maybe for the end of the race as a team.
Yeah, so like I said before, for our team, our goal this year was to have increase our reliability on the track as much as possible. Last year, our team didn't really do so well as we didn't spend as much time as we wanted on the track last year. This year, these past 3 days, we have gotten to spend the majority of our racing time on the track, which we felt was really, really good. There were a few slight problems that we thought we solved during testing, but I guess in the practical world, it turns out it's actually a problem, and we spent a lot of time trying to fix those problems.
What about you? Any goals for yourself or for your team you might want to touch on?
My main goal for this year joining in was to learn about electrical, and being a support, I definitely say I've achieved it. I've learned a lot through Solar Car, and I even learned a lot regarding mechanical, braking, motor controller even, and coding too. And then as a a team, our goal, as Aiden said, was reliability, and I believe we have worked on that. And being a part of the bigger picture and was cool.
Awesome. Always taking little steps forward, right? That's so important. And before I send you back, what I want to touch on as well is, especially talking about people watching the live stream, people who may not be familiar with the Solar Car Challenge or have, maybe not built a solar car themselves, or students who are looking into it. We talked a lot about the challenges, the heat, the hard work, the long days. We've been echoing it all day. Would you recommend this to someone? Are you having fun? Are you enjoying being here at Texas Motor Speedway? And is it all worth it to go through all of these things?
Yes, I would definitely say it's worth it. One, it's a great learning opportunity to learn about various sorts of stuff. Solar car isn't just about getting electricity from the panels and then putting into the motors. It's not just about the car. It's so much more. It's there's fundraising, team management, very small stuff driver ergonomics, for example. We found that driver ergonomics was an issue that we do want to work on in the future. So yeah.
Awesome. How about you? Was it worth it to come out here this year?
Well, definitely worth it. It's 100%. And I would recommend it. Seeing as how much I've learned, how much I've grown and learned more. I learned more from the experience. I definitely recommend it because Solar Car was a great experience, great opportunity to learn and experience something that's super inclusive, like this racetrack, being in the garage, being able to work in this environment. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much, and thank you guys to Plano Green Team in general for cheering us on. We're going to say goodbye for now, and join me in wishing Plano luck as we send them back out onto the track. Thank you guys so much. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you so much, Mackenzie. And now we have Tomek is standing by. Again, we have Tomek standing by in one of the garages, talking to one of the teams. So let's go there. And Tomek, you are live. Oh, he's not in the garage.
No, yes. So I had hoped to bring the public some news, some mid-race drama for this so utterly dominant Racebeck aviation team. Unfortunately, this seems to be something that they fully expected. They blew through their horns, ladies and gentlemen. The cars are required to have a horn on board so that when they pass slower cars, as this car has been doing for now 3 days straight, they can let them know where they are and, we avoid collisions. The Racebeck team, however, just due to the way their electronic system works, the amperage or whatever they've been putting through the horns has just been too much for them to handle. But they knew this was coming. So they put 2 horns on board this car, blew through one of them. When that stopped working, there's a little switch the driver has. He pushes it, and it switches to the other horn, and now that one has also stopped working. So they've brought it in, and in, about 10-15 minutes, they've replaced that all. The margin of error is still comfortably, I would say, above 150 laps. Or at least in that region. And they're about to go out again with a fresh driver, hopefully a fresh water bottle in there to keep the driver cool, and batteries that are nowhere near levels to be worried. They're just testing. There. First time that brand new horn has been fired. They've just made sure that it's working, and they're about to get going. Test complete. Now, the one thing that I can report about Racebeck is that yesterday, near the end of the day... Oh, yes, they seem satisfied with that now. Anyway, they hit a cone. Now, we've seen a few teams do this. Kentucky has done it, Iron Lions has done it, and I'm sure more teams have done it that I just haven't heard about. But this... if you look at the advanced division cars, their aerodynamics are so well developed, and the bodywork is so complex, or rather, there's so much of it, that can actually cause damage, and in fact it did. And they spent a little bit of time yesterday, late afternoon, trying to fix, I believe it was the left front wheel cover, to make sure those aerodynamics were fine. They did. The car went out and kept dominating, and it looks like it's going to continue that, knock on wood, as we see them push it up now. They're going to bring it up to the line, and they're going to use electric power to bring it back on track and speeding around Texas Motor Speedway on a lovely, lovely, cloudless and intense. We're hoping everyone's staying hydrated, especially in those cockpits. I bet that driver is really thankful for the thermal shielding they have above their heads now, and I can't imagine what the Iron Lions drivers are going through, boiling in that little capsule they've got. It's like a casserole dish. Off they go. They seem satisfied with their repair job, and I dare say they should be. Back to you, Stuart.
Thank you, Tomek. Thank you. It's neat to see the Razorback team's car, which we do not see a lot of in our broadcast here because it's pretty much always on the track, making those laps. So let's go back trackside with our trackside cam, and again, we'll bring you some more news and footage as it occurs. And in about 12 minutes, we are going to have a interview with the Winston team. That's right, the Winston team is going to be up at 3 o'clock in about 12 minutes. So we will see you then. All right, so out in front of the garages here, we have a car coming in to do a slalom test. Not completely sure why we're completing this test now. So this car has been taken off the track to do this road handling test. Let's go switch over to Tomek, who's covering this. Tomek, off to you.
Yeah, hi. So we're here in the North Garage, or outside it, rather, where the Plano Green team has just come in. Now, what the situation is that it's so hot right now here at Texas Motor Speedway that restrictions have been put in place for how long a driver can stay in the car. This driver has been in long enough where, for heat stress reasons, they have to remove her because it would not be allowed her to continue. And so they have to replace the driver with a new one. herein comes the problem. Plano Green Team does not have any new drivers. In fact, they don't have any drivers. Their driver did not fit within the car, enough to pass the safety regulations. Their head was just too tall and poked up above that bar that we can see over there, and so it was a safety hazard for the person that they had trained as a driver to drive the car. So they put out a wanted ad, as it were, for drivers up and down the pit row to drive their car. So I believe this lovely lady here is from Iron Lions, and so now that she has completed as much driving as she can do today, they have to find another driver. And in order for a driver to be allowed to drive the actual Texas Motor Speedway track, they have to pass a driving test, as one does in the real world. That is why those cones are laid out over there. That's a slalom test. They're going to put the driver in. The driver is going to go zigzag in and out, hopefully pass, because it doesn't seem too difficult, and then be able to go out on track and turn more laps for the Plano Green Team. Another slight problem, though, is that this driver is nowhere to be seen. We await confirmation of what exactly is happening, and for now, we're going back to the studio.
All right. Thank you, Tomek. So to recap, Plano had only one qualified driver. When they got here, the driver ended up being too tall, and the driver's head went above the roll bars, and so was disqualified. They've been relying on drivers from other teams. That one driver they had today has now driven the limit that driver was allowed to drive because of time restrictions given to the heat. And I just heard that they have found the replacement driver. They were looking for that volunteer, and there you go. All right, so there we go. Tomek, you are live. Tomek, you are live.
Okay, apologies for that delay, folks, but we have two lovely gentlemen here from the South Garage. They're going to climb into this car. They're both going to get certified, and they're going to be able to drive this car today and tomorrow. Given the amount of time left today, I don't know if both of them are going to have to drive it today. The heat index is going up, and so driving times are necessarily going down. The Plano Green Team is also not particularly worried about losing time. They're here really to test this car and develop it further for next year, more than worry about necessarily competing with the likes of Raisbeck and Iron Lions. It is a tight squeeze, as you can see, and it seems that the driver is too big. This is not a car, or rather is a car for the faint of body and slight, and not this gentleman, as it seems. This one seems a better fit, but good enough. So, as you can see there, the judge rules that the distance between the bars of the driver's safety pod and the driver's shoulders have to be 5 centimeters. Or roughly 2 inches. They're using a pen as a temporary measure of how far that exactly is. They're putting the steering wheel back in, and we're about to find out if, with a little bit of finagling, it's not enough.
A little bit below. I told you.
So the Plano Green Team believes that the number is 5, and the judge believes that the number is 15. But it turns out that number 15 is from the most exterior structure of the car, and not the roll cage. And it is 5 to the roll cage. So they might be all right. But are they all right with height?
Head's too high? Head's too high. That's station 1. In your head back?
Yeah, his head is in fact too high. He's not underneath the roll bar. Now the problem with that is fairly obvious. is if the car were to flip and land on that roll cage, it would actually not land on the roll cage, but rather his noggin. Not ideal.
Sorry, guys.
Any small friends that can help you?
Yeah.
Small friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got,
With driver's licenses.
I can do it.
You, what about Ariana? What about,
And what happens now, folks? Friends of friends of friends of friends who A, have driver's licenses, and B, are small enough to fit in this, the cockpit of this mini-mobile.
Be at least 5 centimeters from the roll bar and 15 from outside of the car.
Right.
sorry, guys.
And not too tall so that your head sticks up above.
Yeah, so the roll bar needs to be a distance of 5 centimeters from any part of the driver, and then it can be 15 centimeters from the outside of the car to offer for a crush zone in case of an accident.
I see.
You have a driver's license? Okay. She's got a wristband. It isn't allowed. It isn't allowed. You have to ask your team, but you're allowed to do it. You better start bigger.
Okay, so folks, they're trying to figure this out. They're looking for potential candidates, and when they find one, if and when they find one, we will get back to you. For now, back to the studio.
All right, thank you, Tomek, for that colorful commentary on the Plano Green Team's particular issues of having built a car too small for the tall and generally larger volunteer drivers that have offered to help. So let's see what's going on here. And it looks like we have Mackenzie standing by with a member of the Winston Solar team. So here we go to see Mackenzie. And Mackenzie, you are live.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Garage Bays. We're getting close to the end of day 3, and I am with a lovely Winston Solar Car team member. Goodness gracious, long day, huh? Yeah. So first off, go ahead and introduce yourself, and then go ahead and tell us how long you've been on the team and kind of what role you tend to play when you're here at the track.
My name is Justin, and I've been on the team for 1 year. It's my first year. It's been a lot of fun. Learned a lot of things. Mostly I do things within electrical and mostly wiring in the car. Yeah.
Good stuff. We're getting a breeze in right now, so maybe we'll get some cooler air. Speaking of all this, heat and all these things, challenges that some of the teams have been facing. Winston, you guys have been through some things this race. It's been a long one for you guys. Would you be willing to share with me a snippet of some of the things you have gone through since day 1?
We've had issues with brakes. Our chain popped off and broke a sprocket. We had batteries that weren't charging, and then we had other issues with brakes, and it's been fun.
That's a good word. Lots of challenges. Tell me, what has your team do to try to overcome those challenges? Because you're obviously still racing. Your car actually out on the track right now. So walk me through how your team's been getting through it.
I guess it's kind of the goal of getting to see the car go again, because just now, earlier we hit 32 miles an hour, which is the fastest we've gone so far, which is good to see. It's just kind of the motivation of, you get to see the car going and trying to get more laps completed.
Yeah, I think also a lot of times you study things like engineering, you study things like electrical, you study mechanical things in school, but it's very different sometimes when you get here and you're working on a car. Yeah. Can you tell me, do you feel like this hands-on experience is unique for building a solar car?
Yeah, it's very different because, normally in a psych classroom scenario, you have all the perfect conditions, but then it's when you're out here and it's, 110 and your car's not working because it's overheating and you're trying to find ways to resolve that. It's fun. Yeah.
I like that you think it's fun. That's a good thing.
I put it as fun because, there are other things to describe it, but, I think fun's the best way to.
Awesome. So we're having a good attitude of it, which is really great. I like that you still think it's fun. It's a challenge.
Yeah, it is.
And you guys have obviously been through quite a lot of it this year. Was this something that you were anticipating coming into the challenge, or has it been kind of a whirlwind of things you weren't ready for?
I wasn't expecting this much. I was expecting some things to fail, but it was one that we had not really accounted for in most of our designing that we've done, but other things we had planned for, but this we had not really known.
Yeah, and I totally get it. I think a lot of teams are in the same boat with the heat right now and how it's affecting their car. And, when talking about the car, obviously, again, your car's out on the track right now. So you're currently in a good position. I know we talked recently that you've had other teams help give you guys drivers to get along. How's that been like for you as a team to get to kind of share some of that with other teams?
It's wonderful. It's a great community where everyone's like helping you and open and giving you different parts that you need and tools to get your car running again.
And speaking of running, we're here in day 3, and the car is running. So therefore, what are you hoping for with one more day left of the race? What are your goals at this point, either for yourself personally or as a team?
Hopefully to have the car not break down anymore. Yeah.
Always a good goal. Always
Yeah.
a good goal. So with that, I guess, we've talked about how you've overcome challenges. We've talked with a lot of teams about these challenges. And sometimes I think it's funny for people at home because they hear a lot about, like, man, it's hot, you're tired, it's challenging, things are breaking. And I've been talking to teams a lot today about, is it worth it? You said it was fun, but I'd love for you to tell me a little bit about, for you personally, like, why do you care to be out here at Texas Motor Speedway today?
Well, because, there's this kind of, like, excitement that you get if you're seeing this thing you've spent all year building, and it's finally, like, going around the track successfully. And it's going, and you're like, I built this, I put time into this, and, like, now it's moving, like, how we wanted it to, which is always really thrilling to see.
Awesome. We talk a lot with Solar Car Challenge being an initiative to help get students hands-on in STEM and exploring STEM education. Do you feel like being a part of this challenge has really opened you up to different things from engineering and science and technology and math? Do you feel like it's made an impact on you since being a part of it?
I definitely think it has. I've learned things you would never learn in a classroom scenario, because there are things that arise while out on a track that, won't really happen in the classroom or a garage. But it's been fun. I've learned about mechanical things that I never knew I probably would know. So it's good.
That's awesome. I'm glad you feel that way, and I'm glad you feel like you're getting something out of it. Otherwise, we'd just be here sweating, huh?
Yeah.
Sounds good. So I will let you get back to your team, because I know you guys are low on team members, but high on morale at this point. So I'll let you get back after one quick question to cheer you guys on. Is there anything that you'd like to say to the viewers who are supporting Winston, who are cheering you guys through all your challenges? Any words of encouragement back at them as they've been throwing them to you?
I would like to, first of all, I'd like to thank mostly the team of Kentucky and the Bombers, because they've been really helpful in providing things that we needed. And those like the main team, and then the Iron Lions have also helped us a lot. I'm very appreciative of that. And to any other teams cheering for Winston, thank you for sticking with us as we've had our challenges, and I hope that you continue cheering for us.
Well, I definitely will be continuing cheering for y'all, and I hope everyone back home watching, hopefully in the air conditioning, is also cheering you guys on and awaits for us to get to the last day. So thank you very much. I appreciate you taking the time to hang out with us. And with that, we'll say goodbye and send it on back. Thanks, you guys.
Great. Thank you, Mackenzie, and the Winston team. Winston team is not giving up. They are working hard, even though they've had trouble, and it's that kind of spirit the Solar Car Race is meant to promote. So back to our unfolding drama with the Plano Green team, which apparently does not have enough drivers, and the volunteer drivers they did have not been able to fit in the car. Our very own Tomek, correspondent here with the camera crew, has volunteered to drive their car because he is a few inches shorter than the other volunteer drivers. So let's switch over to Jacob and Tomek as they get Tomek prepped to become the first camera person, Solar Car driver from the camera crew, if you can believe it.
Hey guys, welcome back. This is the Plano team, and they've come off of the track because we are registering new drivers. Because of the heat, we have to switch out drivers every 2 hours, and right now the temperature is well above 105, and so we're switching out far more quick than 2 hours. Per course rules, every driver needs to go through a course to be registered to go on the track. This test includes making sure that they have space between their shoulders and the crush zones, which is the side of the car, and then also that they can handle the car. In this test, you have to go at least 20 miles an hour or faster in between these cones, there and back. The second part of the test is that you have to be able to get out of your vehicle in less than 15 seconds. we're going to go over to actually one of our film members who hopped in the car and will be driving it. How's it going? How does the car feel like?
Oh, she's a machine.
So you were actually inside for a little bit and are planning on being registered to drive the car in the race. How do you feel about that?
I'm excited. I mean, I get to drive Texas Motor Speedway, you know, energy of the future, and I'm glad I was the right size because these guys need more drivers.
Yeah, so one of the reasons why we're choosing him is because this car has a very short seat, and so if you can see below, there's a line where we would draw right here, where their head have to be at least 5 centimeters below this line in case of rollover. And luckily there is shorter people here that can do that. So right now what he's doing is going over the sequence of how to get out of the car. Right now they're explaining the 5-point harness system. In this test, the driver will first come to a complete stop, will release their harness, take off the wheel, hit the kill switches, which are on the inside of the car, and make it out of the vehicle. Just to summarize, if you've just hopped on, Team Plano is trying to register a new driver from a different team to drive their car for them. That way they can swap drivers more often.
It's very in, make a big turn. We've in and out of them again at least 20 miles an hour. If you're going to go the first time, you can. 20 miles an hour on the back end. Whenever you're ready.
Do you know if this is still on?
It's probably still. Just like this car is on fire.
So right now she's getting adjusted to the track and not quite hitting 20 miles an hour, which is what we want her to do. On the way back, we would like to see a little bit more speed, which is what we are seeing now. We've called fire, and now she must get out of the vehicle in 15 seconds. The top is off. She must take off her seatbelt, hit the kill switch, and make it out of the vehicle. Perfect. She has done it perfectly in under 15 seconds. Another safety feature that I would like to talk about is the fact that there are kill-off switches on the inside of the car as well on the outside of the car. In the past, there has been instances where they must kill the power in the car, but they cannot physically reach it, so there's now a rule where a switch must be on the inside of the car as well on the outside. Those switches you will see on almost every car are big red buttons that you can just slap and kill all of the power.
have one more. Oh no, then it's just me. Then it's just me.
But from Stewart's team.
It's just me. Just me.
Just you.
Yeah.
Wide turn. Take a wide turn.
Sure. Yeah. Might get one without sunglasses. Sure.
And stop. Y'all chalks? 1 sec.
Okay, I don't think anything broke.
All right, cameraman next. Let's go fast.
So how was it? How was driving it?
Pretty fun, I guess. I'm not wearing my big hat, but it's pretty fun, I guess.
Was she able to turn pretty good?
I don't know.
What was going through your head when you saw that random lady come and scream fire?
I was like, oh, did I break their car? I immediately thought that, and I didn't mean to.
Well, you did great, and you made it under 15 seconds, so you, I guess, will be driving the car. Are you excited about that?
I don't know if they should trust me.
You don't know if they should trust you. Right now, he is part of the film crew, and he's able to drive this car as well because
I'm short.
Yes, because he's short. All right, so what are you doing right now?
I am buckling the seatbelt. We have a lovely 5-point harness here. Not quite the ultimate, but close to, but basically the standard for racing seatbelts. Is that it? No, I'm missing one, aren't I?
Have you ever put on a 5-point harness before?
So anyone who's watched the media laps with me and the other camera crew will have noticed that we were actually driven around in the EV division yesterday, and that gave us a lovely introduction into the safety feature.
That must have been awesome.
It really was, but now I get to drive it, and that's even better. All right, wish me luck, folks.
Okay, do you know what you're doing in the event of emergency?
Yes, I undo this.
No.
Well, first I disconnect it.
No. First, we're going to stop.
Oh, well, that, yes.
Let's kill the power.
So I stop, I disconnect, I undo the seatbelt, I take out the steering wheel, I jump out as quickly as I can.
How do you kill the disconnect?
These two switches here.
Show me. Do you have a fire extinguisher in this car?
Yes, I do, right.
Okay.
Chalks?
Yeah.
Whenever you're ready.
So you're going to go slow the first time, get used to it. On the second half of it, you need at least 20 miles an hour, okay?
Okay.
Whenever you're ready, go for it. Your car's on fire. Get out now!
Perfect.
Not expecting that.
10 seconds.
Were you expecting that at all?
Well, yes, but not right now. Then again, fire doesn't exactly wait for you.
So you were the judge that did the station during scrutineering that did this the whole time, correct?
I was one of a couple, yes.
How many times have you yelled fire, and did you lose your voice?
I lost the water.
Probably 50 times over the last 3 days. Luckily, my voice is good because I'm not the only one screaming fire, so.
Perfect. You guys do anything creative to yell fire? Because I saw over there that you had some random lady yell and scream fire to catch the driver off guard.
Yeah, we try to mix it up and just catch everyone off guard. She's going to do it again in just a second. It's actually one of her students, so it'll be a little more special.
Perfect, perfect.
What's that? Last name? Lee.
What we're looking for now is the driver's ability to weave between the cones and specifically make it to 20 miles per hour. Now the driver will turn around and do the same thing on the way back. So every once in a while we test the drivers twice just to make sure that they're ready for any situation. Perfect, he did it perfectly. He passed not once but twice. This driver is 100% ready for the track.
All right, did you hear that, guys? Did you hear that? Yes, our very own Tomek is ready for the track and is now qualified to drive a solar car. So, Plano Green team now has our driver, and we are a crew person short. Hopefully we can find a replacement crew person. Let's go back there and see what's going on with him.
Did you expect that at all?
No. And again, fire doesn't wait for what I expect. So I guess I'm ready.
Exactly. He is 100% ready.
I'm also a little banged up. They should work on making that car a little bigger.
Too tight?
No, that's perfect. Thank you.
You know, the most important part about being a driver, if you lose this, you can't drive. And if you lose it, you got to come back to me, and you probably can't afford another one.
I can do a slalom. That's good fun.
Only if you said that.
What's great about this race is it's called the Solar Car Challenge, not the Solar Car Race. So a big thing that we do here is work with camaraderie. So we have multiple teams that have drivers that are on different teams driving someone else's car.
All right, so we're going to go back to track cam and see some of these cars cruising around getting laps in the final 30 minutes of the race here, in the final 30 minutes of today. Going over to track cam. And all right, Mackenzie is now in the garages talking to the Palmdale Electric team. That's right, Palmdale. So over to you, Mackenzie.
Okay, over to me for one last time today for our scheduled interviews. We're back with the Palmdale Electric Solar Car team. Again, if you remember, they have two different cars, so if you feel like you've seen a lot of them so far, it's because we've been chatting with both sides. So this is our representative talking about their electric team. Will you please go ahead and introduce yourself for us? Tell us how long you've been on the team and what role you tend to play as a part of your team.
Hi, my name is Victor, and I'm the team captain for the electric car, and I've been on the team for about 3 years now, but this is my first race.
Awesome. Okay, first race has got to be kind of exciting, so now I guess I have to ask first, how has your race been so far for you? Are you excited? Is it cool being out on Texas Motor Speedway? Tell me all about it.
Well, since it's my first race, everything is new, so all of this is new to me and new to my whole team, because my whole team is also this is also their first race, but it's been pretty well. Yeah, we can't complain. We've had some good runs and some bad runs as well, but you just have to learn along the way.
Yeah, actually, you bring up a great point, so we'll get right into that. Your car and your race this far, right? We're on day 3. We're at the end of day 3, so we're almost to the end. Tell me a little bit about your race so far. We checked in on day 1, but a lot's probably happened since then.
Oh, yeah. So on day 1, I don't think most of the team was mentally prepared of what was coming towards us. Like, we were just kind of going at it, seeing how it would end up, and doing so we learned a lot of things of how to manage our time, how to work with each other more better. But on day 2, that's when we really came out. We got first place for the day, so that was pretty cool, and just goes to show that we actually kind of learned from our experiences, and now that we're on day 3, we're trying to put them into work again and trying to go for number 1 again.
That's awesome. And actually, watching the Electric Solar Division has been one of my favorite races so far this season, just because it's been a pretty close race, particularly between y'all and the Heroes Alliance team. So tell me a little bit what it's like to race with another team, what that kind of attitude is like, and how fun it is to get to kind of go back and forth with someone.
Well, it's pretty competitive. Even though they're very people, I've seen them, I've seen how they work. They're really, really good competitors. Cannot complain. They're very nice. But yet, they're competitors. We still have to be on our toes. We try to keep going as much as we can. But sometimes you can go as much as you can. Sometimes you slow down and sometimes you speed up.
Yeah. And if I remember correctly, your division was down to 1 lap difference from yesterday.
Oh, yes.
1 lap, which is pretty small in terms of a distance between y'all. So obviously both teams are really strong and really great. I'd love to hear for you, at least yesterday, what do you think was your strategy to help get you to that point, and how do you feel like you ended up snagging that 1 last lap?
Well, a lot of things come into consideration, but one of the things that we were doing was kind of just maxing out how fast we can go, and we had a good consistency between changing the batteries, and the batteries were charging at a great rate. That's why we were also to keep going with that pressure the whole race. And then at the end, I think because we came after them in the time, we were able to get that last lap, and luckily we got that first win.
Yeah, that's awesome. And we talked about that back in the studio, talking about that Delta time and how, because you guys started later in the day when we first sent all the cars out, you got a little extra time in the afternoon in order to even it out, so everyone had the same amount of time out on the track, and you guys were able to squeeze another lap with that, which is super, super awesome. We've talked with a lot of teams out here about how hot it is and how the weather has kind of made an impact on how their car is operating. Out of curiosity, have you guys felt any of that, any of the heat having an impact on how you race so far this year?
Yeah, this morning we actually believe that the heat was one of the main considerations why we had to come out of the race for 20 minutes just for a break to let the batteries cool down and kind of let them recharge for a bit. That and the wind has also been very affecting the aerodynamics of the car. So
I think some people who are less familiar with the Solar Car Challenge may not know just how finicky some of these cars can be, how one little thing could cause a pretty big breakdown. So could you talk us through a little bit about how important it is to be on top of your car, to be aware of what's happening, and to watch for those types of things?
Oh yeah, most definitely. You have to be on watch on anything. Not just us who are spectating the car, but the drivers themselves. They have to be on looking at the tires, looking at the wheels. The other day we had a mishap with our solar car, and we only caught it because the driver was able to look around and see that there was something wasn't right. So we brought it in, fixed it, and put it back out. But yeah, you always have to be on your toes around here.
Awesome, on your toes. I like it. That's just the Solar Car Challenge, I guess, huh?
Yeah.
So, okay, we're on the end of the last day. We're looking towards tomorrow. Tomorrow's the last day of racing. I'd love to hear, and I've talked with a lot of teams today about this, if you've been watching the live stream, about goals that you've set for either yourself personally or for the team as a whole, especially entering in that last day. So what could you speak on for goals for yourself or your team now that we're nearing the end of the race?
Well, first of all, our main goals was just to get here since it's our first year here. We were supposed to come yesterday, but we weren't able to because of COVID. But just being here has been a great accomplishment. But now that we're actually here, our next goal was scrutineer. We passed within 22 minutes of the timer coming down. And then now we're in the races with both cars, and we're just trying to get first place on both. We're just trying our hardest and trying to see how far we get.
Awesome. Sounds like you guys have been doing a pretty good job with your goals so far, which is really awesome. So I wish you luck as you continue to do that. I feel like sometimes when we talk about things like scrutineering and we talk about the race, it sounds kind of crazy sometimes to people watching from back home because we use all these words, we talk about it like we're really familiar. But there maybe are some people out there who are interested in solar or curious about solar car. I've asked a lot of teams about what is one piece of advice or encouragement that you would give to anybody who is out there watching and thinking about, I don't know, maybe I might want to start or join a solar car team. So what would you say?
Well, I say just go for it. If you have at least a little bit of interest, bring it up. Nothing hurts in just bringing it up to one of your advisors. And if they're into it, maybe other people are into it because people share similarities. And sooner or later, you'll end up here racing with other teams.
I have one more question for you before I get you back so you can get ready for your car to come off the track for the last time today. You mentioned you're captain for your EV team, and something I haven't talked to as many students about this year is what it means to you personally to be captain. And, you know, what kind of responsibility does that look like, and how do you personally act as captain for your team?
Well, I guess the main thing for me is just everyone's important. No, I'm not saying that I'm the most important or I'm the most crucial, but I think that every team member has their little piece in the whole puzzle. Because without any of just one of our team members, I don't think we would be here where we are right now. Even just people who just help push the cars or people who just give water, but those are some necessary tasks, and it's pretty awesome that some people just take up those tasks without any argument or any resistance from that. So
Awesome. Thank you so much. It's so great to hear about your teamwork. So great to hear that your team's doing well. And like I promised, I will let you get right on back, team. So for the very last time today with our scheduled interviews, we are signing out and sending it back to you, Stuart. Thank you so much, and thank you to Palm. Bye-bye, guys.
Thank you, Mackenzie. Thank you. That was a wonderful little interview there with Palmdale. Now we have Tomek and Isaac, our correspondents, who are going to try a bit of a science experiment. So let's cut to Tomek and Isaac.
So we've been droning on and on all day about how hot it is here at Texas Motor Speedway. And we figured the best way to show you this would be to cook an egg on it. Our readings are showing variations somewhere in the region of 155 to 160 degrees Fahrenheit on this here apron of the track, and 154 Fahrenheit is technically the temperature needed to curdle egg whites. Let's find out.
So Tomek over here will be cracking the eggs, and he'll be doing a demonstration.
Let's find a nice hot spot. I need to get better at my egg cracking.
The area next to it is currently reading around 155.
They are in fact cooking. Let me try and get a whole yolk.
Don't put it next to her. Put it far.
Lovely. That is what I call breakfast of champions.
So now we play the game of...
And now we play the waiting game.
One of the issues is that although the track is above 154, the instant we put down the egg, it rapidly cools down the track. Therefore, it is a real question whether it is enough to fry an egg.
Well, we'll be back. The sunlight will continue cooking this, and the track will continue to get hotter as it absorbs infrared radiation from the sun. For now, it's looking a little promising. Back to Mr. Stewart in the studio.
All right. Well, that was interesting. Unfortunately, it did not sizzle and pop and cook like we all would hope. But given time to heat up and return to that 154 magic number to actually curdle an egg white, we'll see. So we're going to go back to some track coverage now. And then we shall return back to the egg to see if it's made any cooking progress shortly. All right, our audio is now live. And it looks like it is the end of the day. It's shortly after 4, and cars are beginning to come off of the track. Let's see, we got another one queued up here. All right. I have Austin with me here. And Austin, how long have you been involved in the solar car team?
So for the solar car race, I've been involved almost 5 years. I raced 4 years in high school, but this is my first year as an intern where I get to be on the other side of things, which I'm pretty excited about.
Okay, great. So end of the race, what is a strategy? What are teams going to be doing as they start exiting the track?
So right now is a scramble, if I'm being honest. It's a scramble to get sun. So as the sun goes down, the most efficient way to run your panels is directly perpendicular. So right now they're trying to get off of the track, and they're going to get jacks and tilt their cars as far over as they can to get in line with that sun and get their batteries up to 100% before tomorrow's race.
Excellent. I see we have a car coming off here. What is that? Let's see. It looks like we have a electric division car and then 3 other solar cars behind it. Looks like there's some sort of delay or pile up here.
So the one that we see in front is a 2-seater, and that is a solar electric vehicle. In this vehicle, the arrays, the solar panels, are actually outside of the track, and the team will come in and swap batteries.
All right, I wonder what their delay is there. All right. And let's get some audio coming up here. Here we go. There's another angle here. And there we go. All right, waiting for these cars to come in. So Austin, looks like we have quite a lot of cars coming in here. So again, they get staggered, right? It's not just a cutoff time. Each team gets the same amount of time on the track. So if they were let out 10 minutes after the start time, then they're allowed to come in 10 minutes after the closeout. Is that correct?
Exactly, yes. So each car at the end of the race, the team that is in first place will have the first time slot, which starts at 8 o'clock. The second place team will start at 8:01 and 8:02 and so on. And so they have an official race clock, which is actually different than the clock you would see on your phone. Now this official race clock needs to be exact because if a team is off the track just 10 seconds after they need to be, they can be penalized.
All right, and again, now let's talk about so all these cars are going to come in, and their whole goal now is to stay here as long as there is sun in charge. Is that correct?
Exactly, yeah. They'll get sun until 7:30, 8 o'clock, and by the time that comes, the cars are going to almost be sideways. It's a balancing act by the end of the day. It's a little bit crazy, but some cars can do it.
Nice. Well, let's stick trackside, and we will watch these cars as they come in. Oh, not too many here right now. Oh, there's one right around the corner there.